Hi, everybody, and welcome back. I'm Chuck, and I'm here to talk about Star Wars stuff. Ta-da! Okay, so today is going to be more of a stream of consciousness, kind of thing. I've got my resident studio manager here on the desk, and she is making sure that I'm going to stay on task and everything.
Stay on target.
And we've got the Loth Cat in the back, of course, because that's what I do. But today we're going to be talking about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and my thoughts on Galaxy's Edge. Now, I know that this is going to be a little bit of late to the game, for lack of a better term, because, well, I'm just now starting to talk about Star Wars stuff on my channel, and Galaxy's Edge is very important to me. And the reason is because this gives me the opportunity as a Star Wars fan to actually go and participate and be involved in the story of Star Wars, just as the Imagineers at Disney intended. Somewhat. Okay. They tried even to get you more in depth and drop you farther into the story with the unfortunately failed Galactic Star Cruiser.
We're going to save the galaxy.
Hotel, or the Star Wars Hotel, which was very sad because it has so much potential, but unfortunately, I think that the execution on that was a little bit lacking, and we'll go into more of that probably in a later episode. But today, we're going to be talking about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And my thoughts. The intention of Galaxy's Edge was to actually have a land that was dedicated to the Star Wars franchise. And they did it in two parks. They did it at Disneyland Anaheim, and they did it at Hollywood Studios in Orlando. Now, the first one, they tried to open them simultaneously, but of course that was not going to happen because of, well, construction and scheduling issues. But the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios was the initial and the first one to open. And its layout is somewhat easier, as it were, or a little bit more relaxed in my mind, rather than the one at Anaheim, where I think it feels more compact and more compressed and a little bit more claustrophobic. So, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is a land, Star Wars land, that is supposed to be the planet of Batuu, Batuu. This is supposed to be at Black Spire Outpost. And the reason it's called Black Spire Outpost is because of the all very tall black rock formations that are actually petrified trees that are on the planet. And the outpost itself has a marketplace, a first order district, and on the outskirts, what they call the ruins, which is the location of the Resistance base. Now, I honestly think that this whole layout is fantastic, and it lends itself so very well to the potential of some very, very good stories. But, and here's the big but.
Oh my God, Becky.
Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, its execution, I honestly think is a little bit lacking. And the reason is because it only really has maybe 2 ride attractions that are in the land, and the rest of it is very limited to maybe a few character interactions that are sporadic at best. There's a lot of shopping in the marketplace area, which is fantastic. I think that the layout of the marketplace area is just amazing. It is beautiful, and it is truly immersive. Truly, well, and the entire land is immersive, but the marketplace, it, to me, is just chef's kiss. It's beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. It looks like it would come right out of the movies. So there's that. The First Order District, again, is very limited in the fact that it has a stage area with a First Order spaceship where Kylo Ren will occasionally come out with also a First Order officer and a couple of stormtroopers, and they do their natural big giant threats of we shall find the resistance, blah blah blah, we're looking for the resistance. Kylo Ren does walk around the area and primarily stays in Black Spire Outpost and close to the First Order district, and he is looking for the Wookiee with that ship, and that ship he's referring to is the Millennium Falcon, which is a full-scale replica in Black Spire Outpost. And I will, how can I say this? Being a fan for over the last 40 plus years, since 1977, and walking into Black Spire Outpost for the first time, coming down the stairs and seeing the Millennium Falcon in full scale, sitting there in the space dock, I was in tears. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Okay. If you are a Star Wars fan and have not been to Galaxy's Edge yet, make the effort to go. Please make the effort to go. It is so worth your time. The Millennium Falcon sits in front of the ride attraction Smuggler's Run. Now, Smuggler's Run, its whole premise is that you are about to go and sign on with Hondo Ohnaka. Yes, that Hondo Ohnaka. And you are going to pilot and crew the Millennium Falcon to go and obtain coaxium. Coaxium is the fuel that is the primary fuel source for all of the starships around the Star Wars franchise. So that's your job, is you're going to go and get some coaxium. And you're going to end up selling the coaxium to the Resistance. Because, if you don't go steal this stuff without making money, right? Because that's what Hondo is all about, is making money. So that's what your job is. And it's an interactive ride where you actually participate, push buttons, move joysticks, the whole 9 yards of piloting and operating the Millennium Falcon. Again, first time I was on this, I was in tears. First time I did it, I was in the engineer seat. The cockpit for the Millennium Falcon has 6 seats. 3 on one side, 3 on the other. 3 on the right, 3 on the left. And in the front is the 2 pilot seats. Behind them are the gunner seats. And behind them are the engineer seats. And I was the engineer for my first trip. It was fun. It was a little daunting because I didn't really understand exactly what was going on with the whole interaction with the ride. So, yeah, I did my best. But it was a lot of fun. Since then, the last trip that I was on, I was with my daughter because we were there for Oogie Boogie Bash. And, of course, we got to be on the Millennium Falcon, and I got to pilot the Millennium Falcon. It was not what I expected, but boy, it was fun. And Kat and I had a great time. We had both had the opportunity to be pilots our first time around. The Oogie Boogie Bash was the second time, and my sister made the challenge that I had to go pilot the Millennium Falcon, and I got to sit in Han Solo's seat in the Millennium Falcon and pilot the Falcon, and it was marvelous and wonderful. And yes, and I'm getting all choked up about it again because I'm that type of geek. So anyway, that's Smuggler's Run. The other attraction in Galaxy's Edge is Rise of the Resistance. Rise of the Resistance to me is honestly one of the best attractions that Disney has produced within the last 20 years, if not the best. The reason I say that is because the ride technology is it's phenomenal. It uses a trackless system. So well, I can't say trackless. There is a track, but it's not the raised rail that the cars would normally, or the Omni-Movers would normally be traveling on. It's all an integrated system into the floor itself, where the ride vehicles just pass right over the floor and are in a wireless system. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The premise of the story, or the plot, is you are being recruited by the Resistance to go to Bakaran and inform General Organa about the First Order trying to occupy Batuu. So that's your whole premise, is trying to get that information to General Organa. Leia Organa, if you haven't caught up yet. So that's what that is. You go through the ride queue, which is all inside some ruins outside of Blackspire Outpost, or on the outskirts of Blackspire Outpost. You finally get through, you get into the briefing room. Rey briefs you on your mission through the hologram. She tells you everything that needs to happen, and then you board a transport to go to Bakaran. You get on the transport, you launch, everything's all happy and joyful, you get out of the atmosphere, and lo and behold, boom, you're being attacked by TIE fighters. Where are the TIE fighters coming from? The big Star Destroyer that just showed up in orbit. Well, you're caught in a tractor beam, you're pulled aboard the First Order Star Destroyer. You wait for the doors to open on the transport. First Order officer comes on board, tells you that you have now been detained by the First Order, and you will be interrogated, and now you are going to be taken to a holding cell. Everybody comes off the transport into the hangar bay in a Star Destroyer. Again, chef's kiss. I was in tears because we were on a Star Destroyer. For crying out loud, we were actually in space on a Star Destroyer. Well, not actually in space, but you get it, right? You get it? You get it. Okay. You follow the ride queue again through the Star Destroyer. You finally get to the point where you are being addressed by First Order officers, and they tell you which holding cell that you are going to go to. And in this holding cell is another bit of the pre-show where you are interrogated by Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren has been told that he is needed on the bridge, and he gets taken away. And then all of a sudden, it gets very quiet in the cell. And one side of the cell wall is cut open, and all of a sudden, there is a Resistance operative standing outside of this, telling you to get into this ride vehicle because they're going to get you off the Star Destroyer. Yay, you're being rescued. Okay, and then you go through a series of adventures going through the Star Destroyer, and the scenes, the special effects, the interactions. Oh, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And yes, you feel as though you're actually in the movie. It is so beautiful. I love it. I absolutely love it. And yes, I'm geeking out about it because it's so worth it. The ride duration on Rise of the Resistance can go anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes. Okay, so if you're going to do this ride, be aware this is going to eat up some time. It's going to eat up a lot of time. So be aware on that. So you finally go through the Star Destroyer and everything, and then the next ride portion of this is sort of like Tower of Terror. Your ride vehicle goes into an escape pod, and the escape pod drops out of the Star Destroyer, and you go and fly back down to the surface of Batuu and are safe. And everything is all happy, and now you are actual members of the Resistance. And isn't that fun? And it's wonderful, and it's marvelous, and it's all geeky, and I smile every time I talk about it because it's so much fun because you get to participate, or at least feel as though you're participating. Exactly what Walt was trying to do with a lot of his attractions is immerse you into the story and become part of the story. So again, Disney hit a home run with this. Just absolutely fantastic. Now, that's the only 2 attractions in Galaxy's Edge. There have been rumors that there was supposed to be a 3rd attraction, was supposed to be some sort of ride vehicle or ride type of thing where you were on the back of a bantha or an eope or something, or some large animal, and taking a trip around the outskirts of Black Spire Outpost. None of that has really been put forward yet, but there's still apparently structures there and an area where that could be possible in the future. We'll see how that goes. Now, in Hollywood Studios in Orlando, that's where they had the Galactic Star Cruiser. And the Galactic Star Cruiser was interconnected with Galaxy's Edge. And essentially what it is that since you were on a cruise, your shore excursion was to be on Batuu. You're going to go down and visit Batuu because you were taking a cruise to the Outer Rim and enjoying the sights and sounds and cultures of the Outer Rim. Because what else do you do for a cruise in Star Wars? That's what you do. And it was... I really wish that I had been able to do it before it ended. I mean, it was on a bucket list, but also on the other hand, I'm kind of glad I didn't. And the reason is because it was a very limited experience. Your primary experience was all inside the hotel, and you only had 1 day on Batuu. And that was it. We'll go into the Galactic Star Cruiser and talk about that a little later, but here's where I'm saying that Galaxy's Edge is a little bit is kind of lacking. Your primary experience in Galaxy's Edge is 2 attractions, a bunch of shops, and some limited food stand areas, and you have one quick serve or one counter service restaurant in Docking Bay 7. You have one quote unquote sit down area to eat, and it's not really a full service menu. It's more like tapas or, appetizer bar food in Oga's Cantina. And Oga's Cantina is an experience unto itself. Okay. It is a fully themed Star Wars cantina. It's a Star Wars bar. And again, fully immersive, beautifully done, but very, very crowded, and your time is limited. You get 45 minutes. 2 drinks, 45 minutes. That's it. You're done. You're out. Hopefully they're going to start relaxing that a little more once everything starts to cool down with Oga's Cantina. But Oga's Cantina is, if you can do it, do it. Okay. Our family, when we went and we experienced it, we all decided that it was going to be kind of a one and done with us. We did it one time together, and we don't need to do it again. I have been to Oga's Cantina in Batuu East and in Batuu West. Honestly, I enjoy it, but yeah, I'm of the opinion I've done it. And there it is. If I'm going to do it again, I would like to actually do it on Star Wars nights or for May the 4th and be dressed up full in my whole Imperial officer outfit. I would love to do that. I would love to be able to have that experience. It's just, there's so much to do in Galaxy's Edge. And I haven't even talked about build your own lightsaber and build your own droid experience and that thing. I mean, that is also there in Galaxy's Edge that you can do for additional cost. Okay, be aware of that. There's an additional cost. So, but from what I've understand from a lot of folks who've done it, it's worth it. It's worth your time. So that's pretty much everything that I have to say about Galaxy's Edge. Yes, I think that Disney can do more. I hope that Disney does more. We'll see what happens with it. I would like to see more attractions. I would like to see at least 1 or 2 more attractions. One of the things that I would like to do and this is just me, but something along the lines of what Smuggler's Run is I would like the opportunity to pilot my own X-Wing or TIE Fighter. Okay? That's something I want. Regardless, I would like to see Disney do more with that, because the Star Wars franchise is so rich and so deep in plots, characters, stories. It's just, there's so much that can be done. And honestly, it would be in the theme of what Walt Disney originally was trying to do in plussing the attractions, always changing, always evolving, always being better or doing more. So there's that opportunity, and I'm hoping that Disney will take that opportunity and do more with Galaxy's Edge. We'll see what happens. But yeah, there's so much that can be done. And with the announcements that they did at D23 this last year, there's a lot coming. So we will see what happens. But that's my talk on Galaxy's Edge. I am hoping that this next month or so, I might be taking a trip back out there. We'll see. This will be the first trip, if we're able to do it, this will be the first trip that I'll be able to take on my prosthetic to a Disney park. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be fun. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for tuning in. And don't forget to hit that like, hit the subscribe button. That way you'll never miss out on anything new coming up. And also, it helps out the channel. I don't grow unless I get all those folks to come and see. So I'm hoping that you stick around and we'll play some more. Thanks a lot, folks. Bye.